The new channel. See the new. The new channel. See the new. The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following show are those of the hosts, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to TNC, the new channel, here to help you see the new you. Masayang tanghali po, maugmang pangugtuhan, happy lunch. This is Jesse Rebustillo, your host to the HR Hotline. Nakakatuwa, hindi ba nga tayo nag-uumpisa? We already have a greeting from past President Obet Policarpio. Magandang tanghali po, past Team President Jesse, and welcome back. Sasabihin ko, I will tell the name of our special guest later. Let me start the HR Insights, our first segment of the show. This is the opportune time for trainers, for learning and development practitioners. We are frontliners. You are needed at this time. This very moment, you must be training your people to transition to whatever normal you would like it to call. This is what I've been telling my students. You must have been prepared pre-COVID. You must have been for HR competency-based, so that when you review your HR audit, your talent development processes, it is competency-based. Much more for training or learning and development. You must have prepared yourself. I will discuss that in previews with Lynn Muki. Where are you now? Are you still in the fear zone? Are you already in the growth zone? I've discussed it with the past president of Philippine Society for Talent Development, Femari Cabanta. At this time, you are already on the shift zone. Woe to you if at this time, you're still trying to learn how to use your microphone. I bought one yesterday, but I'm not using it still. Or trying to learn what is Mentimeter or groping with the Zoom. I will mention this. I have a friend, Ophel, with the BPO. They have been with the Zoom 7 years ago. So woe to us, HR people, training people. We told you, have biometrics. We told you, have a performance management system. We told you, but you are so walking in the park that when the disruption came, when the pandemic came, so we crammed. But just like me, I am 64 years old. Not cram, but we have to be agile. We have to learn. For the first few months of the pandemic, February, March, you must have learned how to do virtual. It has been there. The distance learning, the remote, it has been there. You can just Google it. It's there. But woe to you if you're an HR or a learning practitioner or a training consultant that you're still, because at this time, this has been, we are now in the 4th month. At this time, as what family told me, you have already shifted. You must be already talking of the content. Of course, you still have to, we'll discuss it lengthily later on. You must know your ADI. What is your ADI? Because that is fundamental. What is your ADI? This is your analysis, your TNA. You never do any webinar, any training, or for you yourself. Oh, free. Let's join. Even with yourself, try to do a training need. Do you need this? And that is the first. And we have been told about that. I was still 22 years old. I know ADI already. For me and for the rest, for the organization. And what is the design? Never venture. How dare you to start a talk show, a webinar. This is what I've been insisting as president of the Philippine Association for Professional Speakers, advising them. Never dare if you don't have a frame, a format, a reference. How dare you? You're too confident to just keep on telling without redirecting. Woe to you. And pardon the listeners. And that is design. And what is the third one? Development. How will you develop? You have to be engaging. When you conduct it, you have to be engaging. I don't know if you see me a little bit cute or a little bit disturbing, or you don't really like the style, the methods. So the person has to make sure that he is engaging. And the last one is implementation and, of course, the evaluation. I've been telling this to all my students. I hope they're listening to me now. I'm a teacher in the postgraduate for PMAP certification. I've been telling them that use Kirkpatrick. It will be funny if your evaluation at this time will still be, what is the rating of the food? Walang food po. Virtual. What can you say about the room? Di ba that is the usual yung kinat and paste natin na evaluation form? And then the worst is, you still have that portion, try to rate the expertise of the speaker. How dare you? With my 40 years of teaching from Letran to Zambeda, you're still going to rate my expertise. The problem with the speaker, the trainer that you get, it's the problem of the organizer. It is not the problem of the participant, not your problem. Your problem is you have to be an adult participant, how to assess if you're learning from me or not. And that is, first, it's the reaction. then your learnings, then your behavior. Are you going to use this? Use this, what I'm talking about, in your life. And then the ROI. So I'm looking at two slides. You know, I'm from Inquirer. Balance. For you first, try to use the ADDIE and then the Kirkpatrick. For you, there are other evaluation methods. And then try to use it now for your employees. Okay, I'm on time. So at this time, I invited a very special person. A lot of people claim that they are friends. Mm-mm. We are more than friends. I've known her as early as 2000. But I knew her before that because I was already attending PSTD. That is just still Philippine Society for Training and Development. And I can see this bubbly girl. But I became close to her because when I was with Inquirer, she was a friend of my training manager, Chito San Mateo. And she was usually dropped by with, I forgot, Ricky Garcia. Hi, hello Ricky if you're listening. She was still connected with, I don't know if I can pronounce it well, Dale Carnegie. Yun. And then, this is chismis. She got a job for ITD. I will ask her para magaling sa yung ITD. But along the way, she became a chairwoman, a chair of the Philippine Society for Training and Development. Ay nako, yung mga wannabes dyan were claiming, ay, this lady is still so young. She has been with learning and development ever since that I was also starting my my life with HR. She has been a friend, a very close friend. One time we were together, I was driving, and she cannot really accept the fact that I had durian. Then, a couple of years ago, we were missing her. But she took, because she was so busy working abroad as an international speaker, world-class speaker. She has been to Bolivia, I know that. She has been to Malaysia, Singapore, and Egypt. She's now used to be the country head, but she's now the executive director of ITD World Philippines. And I'm so glad that this is her first appearance for the longest time that she has been missing. Ladies and gentlemen, she toppled the mountains of Bolivia. She's smitten, what do you call this, Malaysians. She's just like the Sphinx of Egypt, inspired by the Prince of Egypt. Let us welcome my dear friend, the beautiful Serely Alcaraz.
Yay! Good afternoon,
Ang
Jessie!
ganda ng intro ko sa'yo.
To everyone who's watching. What an introduction, my friend! Okay.
I did not
Oh,
read
my
your
life
profile.
flashed before me. Okay.
I did not read your profile. It has to be authentic from Jesse.
I know. It is really just from the heart. And
Yes.
everything that you said, I bounce it back to you, my dearest friend. You've always been there, always around.
Oh, I found out, Serely, tumanda ako at ikaw naman, you grew up us knowing each other, di ba?
I know.
Ay,
Sobra. This is
sa
really
mga lahat,
lifelong
sa mga
friendships.
lahat taga PMAP, kung kami ni Serely nasa likod ng GMM, may pinag-uusapan kaming chismis niya.
Ikaw talaga.
Anyway, welcome back. The People
Thank
Management
you.
Associations welcomes you back. The Philippine Society for
Thanks.
Talent and Development welcomes you back. And your family now. The Philippine Association of Professional
Professional
Speakers.
speakers.
Yes.
Yes, my life has been around associations. So thank you. Thank you
Okay,
for
so let's,
welcoming me back. I missed all of you as well.
Serely, where are you? At home or in
Yes.
the office?
As you can see, I am at ITD office. All right.
O kaya pala, lahat libro. Lahat. ITD stands
Yes,
for
we have
what?
our books.
ITD stands for what?
ITD stands for Institute of Training and Development. And we've been
Yes.
around for 14 years, Jesse. We started 2006. I am
Okay.
employee number one. So, quite a long
Okay.
time already.
So let us start because our topic for today
Yeah.
is actually preparing, conducting, evaluating virtual and blended trainings.
Online.
Actually, this is supposed to be a 2-day course, but we'll discuss it for 45 minutes. Okay, tell me, how do you prepare for those all HR or here or learning and development practitioners? How do you prepare a virtual or a blended training now? Given that you are in training. So that means you don't have to study still. You don't have to take a master class. So you know it already. How do you prepare one?
Yes. I've thought about that question, Jesse, and it's easier when we have acronyms, right? So
Yes,
I
yes.
thought I'd use the acronym TED, as in Tango, Echo, Delta, where T stands for technology. I think it's really critical. For now, everything is online. My dear LND, my dear trainers, we embrace the new normal. We need to get to know our platforms, our technology. We also need to ensure our steady and stable Wi-Fi connectivity. We would always say Wi-Fi is life. So platform-wise, may it be Zoom, may it be your WebEx, MS Teams. So this is an additional skill set, Jessie, that we need to have as learning and development practitioners. So technology is something that we will embrace. It's not anymore just the competence, but also the confidence in using it. What's good, we could always have also other people to help us. Like there will be hosts, there will be also our assistants to kind of help to ensure the smooth conduct of our online programs. E for me also stands for getting ready with our equipment. So just also for this for the online sessions that we've been conducting, I found myself upgrading my laptop so that at Zoom we would have also our virtual backgrounds. At the same time, we are also looking at, if there would be a need for the lighting, a need for the audio, for the sound, because this time uh, you are not with your participants live. So the challenge there is that with even you might say a bit of the barrier that you can be miles and miles away, but at the same time, the ability of us as trainers to actually connect, to actually ensure that we still deliver the program seamlessly as if it were face to face.
Surely. I
She
mentioned Adi
also getting ready
earlier.
with equipment. The last
Yes, yes.
one, Jesse, is design.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, yes, that is what I was about to ask you. So,
Design.
how we do design? Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, continue,
So
please.
okay, what I've been doing is there's really a transition from the face to face to online. It cannot be like a copy paste exactly what you're doing with face to
Oh,
face.
I
Oo,
love it.
i-convert mo na converted agad to online. There's a lot of preparation in a sense, very similar to what you mentioned, yung ADI model. So my quick tips for those who are watching us, there's a need also to simplify the presentation. It cannot be as long na as we are used to sa face-to-face. To add to that, what we've been doing is adding on some pre-work, Jessie, right? So parang
Right.
engage them even at the beginning. And then what I do with my pre-work, I test also the participants, no, prior
Right.
to the workshop para naman they see that, oy, kaya I need to do my pre-work because I know I'll be tested for it. I'm gonna be asked for it. So maximize also all of those. So sa design, you also need to see how you can chunk it down because
So
I
you're
know
telling us,
slowly,
you're you're telling us
yes,
it's
go ahead.
blended already because there is already pre-work. It's already
There's
blended.
work, yeah, because the face to face, the live is actually to complement what they have learned from their pre-work material. I mean, in an
Okay, we'll
ideal
go
sense.
back. We'll go back to that. We'll go back to that. Let's have our first commercial break, and then I'm very sure it will be an engaging. Okay. Oh, thank you. Can we have the first commercial break? You know we have commercial breaks here. This is
Of
a live streaming,
course.
and we need sponsors for this. We need sponsors for this so that we can have the second season. Okay. Can we have the first break because it's the welcome back to the HR hotline. Okay. So our special guest, Miss Serely Alcaraz, gave us three, and the first one started with um, the technology that you're going to use, and it ended up with, again, using the ADI, the design. Okay, can we have Serely, or we still have announcements? Okay, before we go back to Serely, yes, ladies and gentlemen, you have to tune into the TNC. Tune in, tune in. We have the big picture from Monday to Friday. And of course, you will be my lunch date from Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Then we have business with Dr. Mike and Bert on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but this is in the evening. The fourth project is on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 7. Then we have the U-turn Mondays, and on Thursdays, it actually is the the show before me. Then we have the home buyer with Dante Salamat, Mondays and Thursdays in the afternoon. Then wonderful puppet story of One Lu on Tuesdays and Fridays, and the TNC original on Thursdays. I know we still have one. Yes, we have the live stream is the new broadcast. So we ask all those doing live stream to join us in the POP, the Philippine Association of Live Stream professionals. You know, Serely mentioned this earlier. She is, just like me, an association person. We have to be an association. We don't have to be an island and also for the protection of our industry. So we have the professional speakers, the talent development, the people managers. This one for the streamers. This is an emerging job. This is an emerging platform. This is an emerging industry. Let us join together and learn from each other. You know, this afternoon, I was informed just 3 or 4 days ago, there will be a webinar in PMAP. It's all about the Meralco bill. And then they were looking for a moderator who can make to enliven it. So they called me. Carol called me. So just can you do this for me? Because it's, you can do a lively moderating for this topic. So you need that. You need to be in an association so that you will know this one is very personal, and this is actually a demand from members. And then since Meralco is a member, so it's a service of the association to the members, very similar to PSTD and then for POPs. Okay, so let's go back to Serily.
Hi,
Serily,
Jessie.
in the
Hi.
preview, in the
Yes.
preview, we mentioned that HR must know the remote learning methods, tools, and competencies before we go to how to conduct. So can you tell us briefly what are the methods, what are the tools, and what are the competencies that an HR, particular and learning and development
Yes.
trainer should have?
Well, for one, you actually bring in all the skill sets also that you have gained prior to this new normal, right? We would still have our ADI, we would still have our clear, our clear design and ensuring as well that objectives are met. Perhaps what we can add on would be our what I mentioned about the TED, no? A bit on that confidence and competence with the technology. I would also add on agility, no? To be able to shift quickly, because I think one challenge we have, and I think all of us as trainers have felt it, there are occasions that we don't get to see our participants. It depends on whether they will turn on their videos, are they video ready. So now we feel how it's like to just kind of being able to talk to our laptops. So it's a matter of practicing, no, being agile and taking a closer look. Let's practice this technology. Let's embrace it as well. And I believe it's also anchoring on the benefits that we now have now that we're doing online, because for the first time, Jesse, right, it's so easy to gather all the participants together. You can do
Right.
actually your live stream, so
Yes.
there's still that interaction if you put now that engagement piece into all your sessions. So rather than seeing it as limitation that, oh, I cannot group them anymore. Well, that's why there's also Zoom breakout rooms to be
Right.
able to
Yes.
provide that. So I think if there's one other competency that I'll add to that, Jesse, it's actually your own creativity and innovation. There are
Of course.
limitless possibilities, So I've been also
You know, you,
coordinating with our trainers, and damning ideas. There's a lot of ideas
you
on
know, you know,
how.
Serily, I still sing. I still do a
Yeah,
prayer. I still do my clap. I still do when I do webinars. In
it
particular,
need not
Sari,
vary. Okay, go ahead.
there is no need for HR to tell us that they don't have a budget because the cost is really very minimal when you're doing virtual. You're not going to feed anymore. What they're going to spend is actually for the payment of the Zoom, but there are free
Yes.
collaborative tools. How
Yeah.
about the tools? How about the tools? We have Menti, Kahoots, we have Survey Monkey, but I don't use that. As a trainer, I don't use it because it takes time. I use the blended. I use the blend.
Yes.
It's more interactive. The chat. Can you tell us what are the things that you do? What do you do? Advise on the tools that should be used.
Okay. For the tools that we're going to use, it's actually, as what you said, Jessie, it can be blended. Like it depends on whether, I think one consideration for us is also our bandwidth, right? Because
Ah,
with
yeah,
bigger
of course.
bandwidth, okay, then you would have your Mentimeter, you would have your Kahoot, even your videos. One tip that was also shared by one of our trainers in Malaysia, right? So I
Yes.
actually consulted them. So a shout out to Casey Yan, Casey Lee Dion, and Edwin Johnson. They were sharing with me like options. For example, if you're going to show videos, maybe just give them also the link to it, right? Rather than, because sometimes the streaming can take a
Right.
toll on our toll on our bandwidth. Some
Because
of the
because it's
tools,
it's heavy.
yes,
Yeah, it's
it's
heavy.
heavy.
If
Exactly.
you
So,
if you embed it into your presentation slides, it's heavy. And if the bandwidth is not actually strong, then there
right.
is the connectivity problem. Very
And at the
good.
same time, when you are also setting it up, it would be good not to have also like dead air, right? So it would be good to
Yes.
still engage them while you're, for example, setting something. You can just actually share with your participants. Okay, so what we're doing now is setting this up, and so giving them also the reminders, making use obviously of the chat box and the chat box as well as annotation, and you can actually use like a whiteboard of some sort. So it's really getting the full functionality of the platform, of the technology that we were talking about. And if I may, Jessie, more than the tools as well for remote learning, as trainers, let's also not assume that our participants already know how to use Zoom, already know
Right.
how to
Right.
use the chat box. It would be good to actually, even at the beginning, prepare them as well, because otherwise they might not have the full experience of the session. When they get lost somewhere, they suddenly they don't see you anymore. So you might need to actually, like what we do, we would have like a video making sure that our participants are it's not only us as LND, it's also the participants. We partner with them, we make it the best possible experience. I'll
Okay.
add
So
one
that,
more.
yes,
Go
sure,
ahead, Jess.
sure. You
No,
please, you add one more.
I was
You add
about to
one
say,
more.
feel free to make
Yes.
use also of like Viber group chats or WhatsApp groups,
Right.
so for
Right.
added engagement. So we need not just be limited to our box. We have Google Forms, as simple as our Google Forms, as simple as like we form now a group chat with the participants. And for us
Yes.
going into evaluating, it's so nice because then the participants still do keep in touch. You're there. You see how they're going to apply what you've learned. So back
You
to you,
know,
Jess.
yes, I did a webinar for ECOP, Employers Confederation. Aside from the live webinar, I had previous pre-webinar questions
Yes.
that I have to do, and then I asked the anchor to uh, organize for me a group chat for Facebook, for Messenger, and we exchange, and it's so blended that the up to now it is fast becoming a mentorship. So there is what you call, yes, that is what you call a post engagement with the trainees. Now we are now in the conduct. We are now in the conduct, and then how now will an HR or a trainer conduct a virtual or blended training? Before I ask you, the next question will be after how will be the
Evaluation.
content. The content,
Yes.
before we go to the content, because that is what we need. That is what I mentioned. You mentioned that earlier, that at least at least they should have inquired from the participants if they are comfortable with Zoom. So that should be part. There should be a tech test before the webinar. Test them if they are comfortable. So that is the content. But before we go to the content, let us go to how do you now facilitate, how do you now conduct a virtual or blended? And then you are the master. You are the master in this.
Thank you, Jessie. I think all of us, we're continuously work in progress, right? Because I know that in a sense, we've been so not well, it's a combination of being dependent and also being comfortable with face to face. We get our energy, Jesse, also from our participants, right? So
Right, right.
so the game plan now is getting our energy from our participants that we view with from our laptop. Okay, so even if they're miles away, the game plan, I found myself doing that. No? So in terms of conducting it, I would go with the head, heart, and hands, right? So mindset, no? The mindset of the trainer that I can, I can definitely connect with all of them. I'm gonna love this group of participants. I know that the laptop is not the barrier. It is our tool of getting our message across. So the mindset that technology is our friend, okay? That the
So,
Wi-Fi
so,
connectivity will
so
be smooth.
let me catch you. Let me catch you. So it's
Sure.
best that you must know the profile of the
Of
attendees.
course. Yes, yes.
The
I
more,
similar
the
to our
more,
face to face.
the more. Because sometimes as training consultants, sometimes we just barge into a training during the face-to-face.
Do
If
it.
we don't even know who are the attendees, and then we just ask them, "Can you introduce yourself?" At this time for the virtual, we must know beforehand who will be sitting or attending the event. Right? Thank you for the tip.
So you need to. I mean, the all the more the preparation, all the more the preparation has to be there because we don't have that luxury, right, of
Yes.
gathering them all together. So they become like just boxes to us. So the more that we can personify them, the more that we get to know them, then all easier to actually conduct and facilitate.
Tell us,
Simplify
Serely.
also.
Tell us,
Simplify the
Serely.
content. Yes. Yes.
What is the ideal number of a virtual training? Should it be 10,
Okay.
25, 50?
All right.
Or it
So
depends on
that's
how many screen that will appear in the laptop.
that
How
would
what is
appear, right? I think just, I think one thing that online allowed us to do is really, so when we talk about webinars, they're the ones that you can have like, 100 people, 500, or even 1,000. For us, if you wanted to be an immersive workshop, it would be similar to the kind similar to what we do with
right?
face to face. Still
Right.
have, like we've encountered having about 15 people or 20
Yeah,
people.
less.
And sometimes
Yes.
what I do, Jesse, I call that no choice, right? They have to
Yes.
participate. I
Yes,
start
of
now
course.
really calling people, but sometimes they wait to be called because perhaps we got used to the webinar, to the one-way communication that is
Yes,
typical
yes.
when you have big audiences. What I realized, Jesse, if there's a small audience, all the more people are kind of willing to
Yes.
share, right? It's a
So
very safe
15 to 20. 15 to 20 is
environment.
the best. Now let us go to the facilitation. So how will you conduct it? How will you facilitate it? Just a few. There are hundreds of
Sure.
tips that you can share. Just a few. So how will you just an example. Not all
Yes.
are trainers, but HR actually does onboarding, orienting the one content that they will ask you, orienting how to wash their hands. So how will they do it? How will before we go to the content again? How will they do it if you are not actually a trainer but you're an HR but you are now tasked to do orientation, onboarding, or training? Help us. Please tell us, Serely.
Okay. For us, for example, you're going to do really onboarding. The game plan is really review, for example, manuals. I think we'll really have to go to simplification, right? You can
Right.
always give, for example, the manuals or the policies to them on hand. the game plan is to be able to see what are the salient points from those manuals, what are the non-negotiables,
Right.
what do you want to really be highlighted, highlighted this one, this has to be really shared, this has to be shared. And then I would really go for engaging, really engaging also your new employees, if it were onboarding. I am a fan of having like quizzes, games,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
really a need
yeah,
to
yes, yes,
gamify, like
yes,
what we're doing, Jesse, also,
yes,
right, for the Philippine Society for Talent Development.
yes,
We're
yes,
doing a
yes,
lot of that gamification. We need to
yes,
make
yes,
it fun, Jess. Otherwise, our participants will just say, "Okay, just give me the manual, and I'm gonna read
yes,
it."
yes,
So simplify it, and like let's go with the non-negotiable. Those that I you would really need to share that message. The rest can be something that they can review, and then still involved. There has to be some form of
yes.
engagement.
I
So that's
love
why
it.
you
I
have
love it.
your Mentimeter, your Kahoot, even the typical, right? Like just doing the quizzes and then having
Yes, yes.
prizes also for those who can actually answer. So there's a lot of tools that are available for us.
Okay. Before we go to evaluation, so what do you think are the content? Because family would like to hug you, to welcome you, family. Now,
Hi,
family,
friends.
family. Uh, when we were discussing this last night, she told me that the trainers now, HR now, should already be in that shifting mode. It is already that we are already doing it. That means that we are already doing it at this time. It has been already 4 months. So what do you think aside from you must already have taught them the protocols. You must already have taught them um, what are the advisories from Dole. What do you think, Serely, so that we can
Mm.
give them an idea? What will be the topics, the content of our learning and development now?
This would be for content for our employees, right? I think we're
Yes, yes,
really looking into um, it's now the new normal, as we've been
yes,
sharing. It's getting it's taking a closer look now at me, right? That's why we would have, I know there's a lot of content about my own change journey, my own agility, my own ability to adapt to all of this. So continue that. At the same time, I think everybody's curious about, so what's next? Okay.
right,
What
right,
is in the horizon? I think I've been
right,
seeing a lot of like future thinking, and
right.
I think the game plan, Jesse, and for us, it's gonna be all blended already. Like for the learning,
Yes,
right? It
yes,
cannot be.
yes,
We
yes,
won't go back to just purely face to face. We know, and we saw the heightened productivity of even our work from home arrangements. You've added in that accountability component. We can spend a bit more time with our families. So in terms of content for our employees, it's really ensuring and somehow affirming that we are here for them. Safety is still the primary, is still the primary concern. So we're there. It's moving forward. It is continuing on. Maybe some of the content we can add in is really greater accountability. That I
yes,
own
yes,
own this. Let's even wear our ownership thinking hat. So it's
yes.
helping the
So
organization a
So
lot.
it will be fun. It will be funny if you insist on, say, business writing. It will be funny if your topic now will be on. So I like it. Say just let's just like say what the group of family is doing. Say for leaders will be, say, design thinking. That is what in the future, or critical thinking, or for me what I do, it's more of emotional intelligence or mental health. And I think for all, let's have a review on our wave. what do you call that? The
Work
values, work,
attitude, work
food, and
attitude and
good.
values.
And I think what I gathered from you is, let's have a very very quick review on our strategic plan, because everything is zero based now. So and at this time, and I think this time, Sarah, I was just thinking, I'm inspired with what you told me. And at this time, it's not only the one that should be involved, not only the executives or the managers, everybody. So even in the planning, everybody should be involved, because the pandemic forces us to really to be collaborative.
Correct.
Collaborative. Yes. So you made a whole day training in 30 minutes. So let us continue for the second day. Okay. How
These are
now
just
do
broad
we
tips, right? And we can continue
yes,
the conversation as well. There's a lot to
we'll
learn.
we will come back on the second season. I know that. Well, anyway, I'm so glad that this is your welcome back show. Certainly. How then
Yes.
shall we measure the things that we do now? I'm very sure that they already taught how to use the Zoom. They are now doing orientation on through work from home employees, how they're going to follow the protocols. How will you evaluate if that is effective or not? Tell us.
Yes. So as always, it doesn't matter whether it is online or face to face, right? We're still kind of reviewing our 4 or even 5 levels of evaluation. It's just that maybe for now, what we have done, for example, I heard you during the introduction. It's not enough to just do like reaction level, but it's really moving towards how relevant it is. The
Yes.
knowledge, the level 2, the knowledge that they've gained, that's why we would have still our, I would strongly recommend, we would still make use of activities, exercises, simulation, do their breakout rooms for some of those, not just knowledge, but really skills building programs, so that we can
Yes.
test
I
what
love
they
it.
have learned from the class. But I know that all of us are looking for at least level 3, which is the behavior change, right? Was
Yes.
there
Yes.
really an impact? Was there really an impact from from the time that they've attended the session?
Mm-hmm.
And for us, the remote, the online, I think there's also a very good opportunity for us to continue on with the follow through sessions. So
Right.
because
That is
it's so easy
nailed it.
now, you don't have to
Nailed
go
it.
from anywhere. Have
You
follow
nailed
through
it.
sessions,
Nailed it.
so that our programs can really have more traction. No, because as you mentioned, there's not as much in terms of expenses, you might say, right? It would really be, like gather them together, have like your it's like we call them check-in. Yeah, we want to check
Yes.
in with you. How is the application going on so far? And because it becomes also another needs analysis, Jesse, so that we
Yes.
know how to
Yes.
further support them if they find that we're still struggling with this. Then we know that that's something that we can provide. So for me, the level 3 becomes not just an evaluation, but also a follow through tool. And it is something that can be done very comfortably online. The ROI, of course, the level 4, for us, the measurement will only be in terms of projects, right? So if there would be some solid projects, I would add a bit more to that. Ensure that there's also some coaching and mentoring elements involved. Because when we have also that, when we also go beyond just the training element, just the our online and e-workshop element, and move into me as a boss, okay, coaching and mentoring my team, then that will work perfectly.
So nice. We'll come back to that. Let's have our second commercial break. When we come back to that. As I mentioned, HR hotline, I will insist with our executive producer that it has to be 1 hour and a half because we only have a few minutes to go. So actually, we're eating up the third segment, which is job fair. And if you notice it, the spelling of job fair is not Fair. Although we have some slides here coming from our major sponsor, Wills Desen and Associates. They are in Quezon City, and then thank God, despite the fact that a lot of uh, organizations are retrenching, Wells Design and Associate are still looking for engineers, CAD operators, HR, even in their finance group. And then if you are interested, you can apply. It is already flashed there to their site or to call their numbers. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are actually looking for a job, if you are in Quezon City, it has to be near because actually we walk. There is a chismis that it will be again on ECQ come July 15. But if they're still accepting applicants, why don't you apply? Now, on the job fair, which is actually the portion of the show, FARE. So how are you faring with your job? Let us connect it with our topic. So, as an HR person, how are you faring with the orientation, with the training that you're given to your people now? You should have gone and you're already successful with all the protocols. At this time, if you are faring good in your job as an HR, at this time, you have already taught them all the protocols required by the LGUs and the government. How do you fare? So that you will still love what you are doing, are you actually enjoying, happy with the L&D function, with your L&D role? Are you training them? What is it that you are imparting to them? Are they happy with what you are teaching them? So this is the hotline, the message for the job fair. Let's go back to Serely because we will have to use the time that we have to squeeze
No
from
worries.
squeeze of this lady. Anyway, now, so you told us about Kirkpatrick. Okay, Kirkpatrick. Okay. And then we discussed that there is no problem as far as budget is concerned. Okay. So tell us, are how will we know that the one that I mentioned earlier in the fair, so that we will know if our job is really successful or we are satisfied. How will we know if what we are imparting, what we are telling them are actually used? How will we know? I
Hmm.
have some. I have some. Let me share with you. My thoughts, correct me if I am wrong. One is that you told us earlier that there should be a continuous uh, conversation. There should be groups after that. So that means that every after, say, a training portion, there should be another group or another way to ask them, oh, what can you say about? Did you learn something? Pero my question is deeper, and you can help us. How will we know now that we are in a remote situation that they're actually, parang bang ito, getting us right and they're happy? Yes, tell us, please.
Usually, Jesse, the game plan is that remember the challenge when it is already level 3, right? They are outside
Yes,
of our online classrooms. So the for us it should really be a solid partnership as well between us as well as their bosses, the back on the job the back on the job application for me to ensure that remember when we're evaluating test, right, is not really just towards the end. It should actually be tied to the objectives that you had at the very beginning. For me,
Right.
more traction, the KPIs, Jess, I would still go to
Yes.
that. It's really part of their work. Key result areas, key performance indicators, the
That's why
performance
I mentioned earlier it has to be competency based because L&D should be competency based.
yes.
Ay,
So the
salamat,
more
Serely.
that there's traction, sir, the more that they're going to apply it. Okay. So we
Yes.
need to be able to be there for them.
So at the end of the day, the measure is still on the KPI.
We bring them back, eh. We bring them back. I think that's the very reason why L&D is value adding, right? We would also, I mean, aside from the overall growth and development of the person, of course, we would want that as well. The motivation, right? The drive, the connectivity despite the working from home and the leading the remote teams. At the same time, at the end of the day, they would go, okay, what's in it for me? The how can I
I
add more
was
value
waiting
to
for
the team?
I was waiting for that. You're really, really wonderful. I was waiting for that. Because at this time, the worst thing that an LED will do is to just put it on their throat, teach, and then it doesn't mean anything for the employees.
Relevance is the key.
So we go back to Adi, you really have to look into the need of the person. And then at the end of the day, it has to be competency based and it has to be linked. L&D has to be linked with this talent management already, the performance management. We still have two
Very much
minutes. Can
okay.
you can you relate it now to succession planning? Wow, 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 wow. Natutuwa
Of
ako. So,
course, right? Yep. The game plan, Jesse, as you mentioned, right? So if you're clear also about the competencies needed for the next role, so it's all about preparing the team. Okay, it's all about ensuring that they have the right knowledge, the skill sets, attitude as they proceed now to the next level. So I've seen that sometimes, Jesse, right? We promote them, they're also not quite prepared yet. So the game plan is before we do that, we equip them as well, give them as much of an opportunity, knowing that it is still for us, right? The 70-20-10, it is still by experience, it is still by exposure, but at least the 10%, we give them already the awareness, we give them the tools and techniques,
yes.
they have the toolkit ready so that when we give them also the other assignments, right? Your level 3 assignments, you give them the opportunities to apply, then they'll be able to shine.
With that statement, Sarili, you really have to come back in this season. Maybe a week after when everything is settled. Pero just a minute, tell us what are the plans of ITD now? You are the executive director, you told me.
Yes, actually, for us, it has become a lot of collaboration. I'll invite also our FB friends. Please do check out itdworld.com. We do provide this time. Now there's Jesse, the collaboration of all the centers of ITD in Malaysia, in Vietnam, in Thailand, Singapore, Philippines, other Asian countries, because we're here to bring the best, okay, to learn from the best to be the best. One program that is coming up is our Global Leadership E-Summit on September 2023 and 24, right?
I'll
Uh,
attend that. I'll attend
yeah,
that.
so please do check it out and we look forward to inviting everyone, itdworld.com/GLS 2020. So there's a lot of that will be featuring Marshall Goldsmith, Peter Chi, Dr. William Rothwell, John Matone, and Mark Thompson. So a lot of things,
Okay.
exciting things happening, Jess.
You'll have to come back and I have to say thank you to now. But you know, my thanks to Serely is not for being a guest here now. You know, Serely, let me thank you so that everybody will know. Since the time that you were with ITD, because I know You were discussing that years ago in my room with Chito while you joined ITD. You know, salamat, Serely. In all the ITD event, I am part. Kahit na napakamahal, Serely will call me, Hoy, Jessie, punta ka rito. And you know, I go there, lunchtime to eat. Sayang, Serely, yung mga doon sa dusit, Diyos ko. But you know, I learn a lot kasi if you look at my room, I have volumes of volumes kasi binibigyan niya ako ng mga handouts. And then from time to time, kaya po ako matalino ngayon kasi binabasa ko yun. Anyway, thank you very much, my dear friend. Ladies and gentlemen, nakita mo po, she was there in South America. Doko, semplang lahat. She was at Malaysia, na in love yung mga Malaysians sa kanya. At ngayon nakita mo, that's why she was missing. Because actually, I know it. I was, siyempre, ang family was the first one to understand. She was actually out. And she's actually honing. Hindi mo to alam. Alam niya. You know, we are now gathering what she yung experiences niya around the globe as an international trainer. Just imagine, ang hirap kaya magturo dun sa lugar na yun kasi you cannot speak in Tagalog. I can just imagine her as Cleopatra in Egypt. She cannot speak in Tagalog because all of them are Egyptians. So, yun nga. So,
maraming
Serely,
salamat.
we are so glad that you are back. Be active in PSTD, PMAP. I will ask Ecop to invite you and Pops. And of course, be a family here in TNC.
Thank you
I will
so much.
I will ask other hosts na to invite you so that mapiga talaga and what you have experienced. Other things. Pwede doon sa travel. What are the beautiful views that you have seen in your travels? Oo. Okay, so thank you.
Thank
Sabi nga
you.
sa Bicol, Diyos mabalos. So yon po, ladies and gentlemen, again, nag-overtime and I'm so excited. Nakikita niyo sa boses ko because I am with my dear friend. I've seen her bloom, grow up, and now she's hindi pa, full bloom ngayon ang ating friend na si Serely Alcaraz. Okay, so for the topic, importante po yun. Start with your how to prepare. And at this time, dapat you must already be looking into the content at this time. Whatever, nothing is abnormal now. If it is still abnormal, if it is not yet normal, it is our job as HR, as learning and development practitioners to make it normal, not even a semblance. So we have to look now into how are we going to facilitate it. We were told to be creative, innovative. We have to be agile. We have to be fast. And then let us make sure that what we do is actually measured. And we got it, nailed it. The measure actually is competency-based. What do you mean by competency-based? KRAs and KPIs. So don't dare to give training programs which is not actually, what do you call this, the requirement or the need of the individual. So you go back to that. So that at the end of the day, the ROI is not actually the money that you spent. Ang mura na ngayon. The ROI is if the employees will be able to use it in the work. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It's already past 12 and my dogs are hungry. So, the Daddy have to say, Diyos mabalos po. This is Jessie Rebustillo of HR Hotline.